Imagine finding a penny in your pocket that could be worth more than a brand new car or even a house. Most people spend Lincoln Wheat pennies every day without realizing some of these tiny copper coins are worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. In today's video, I'm revealing rare Lincoln Wheat pennies still hiding in circulation, the exact dates and Mintmark's collectors are paying huge money for, and the mistakes that can instantly multiply a penny's value. If you collect coins, hunt pocket change, or live in the USA, this is a video you cannot afford to skip, because one small detail could mean missing a fortune. Make sure you subscribe to Rare CoinX USA, hit the like button, and watch until the end. Your next penny could change your life. Coin number 1. Imagine holding a single penny between your fingers, worn, quiet, almost forgotten, yet unknown to most Americans. That exact type of coin has crossed the auction block for a price that rivals luxury homes. Not because of hype, not because of luck, but because history, rarity, and perfection collided at one precise moment in time. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark looks ordinary to the untrained eye, but to elite collectors, it represents one of the most misunderstood and potentially valuable coins in U.S. numismatic history. And the truth is, the difference between a common cent and a six-figure collectible can come down to details so small, most people never think to look until it's too late. Most people think a penny is just pocket change, something you toss into a jar or spend without a second thought. But there is one specific coin that quietly proves how wrong that belief can be: the 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny with no mint mark. This ordinary-looking copper coin was produced during one of the most important moments in American history, right in the middle of World War II, when the U.S. economy, metal supplies, and minting standards were under enormous pressure. And that pressure is exactly what created one of the most fascinating and valuable stories in American coin collecting. The 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at the time. Millions were produced, but here's the detail most people don't realize. Survival, condition, and strike quality are what separate a common penny from a life-changing collectible. While most examples are worn, damaged, or discolored from decades of circulation, a very small number survived in extraordinary condition, untouched by circulation, perfectly struck, and preserved in a way that collectors dream about. These are the coins that rewrite value charts and command staggering prices. During 1942, copper was a strategic metal needed for ammunition and military equipment. The U.S. Mint was already preparing for drastic changes that would come in 1943 with steel cents. That makes 1942 one of the final pure copper wheat pennies before wartime composition changes. Collectors place enormous historical importance on this year because it represents the end of an era. Coins from transitional periods in U.S. history consistently attract higher demand, especially when tied to global events like World War II. What truly elevates the 1942 no mint mark wheat penny is its potential for exceptional condition rarity. Coins are graded on a scale that measures preservation, luster, strike sharpness, and surface quality. While circulated examples may be worth only a small premium, high-grade, uncirculated specimens, especially those with full original mint red color, exist in extremely limited numbers. The higher the grade, the steeper the value curve becomes, and the competition among collectors becomes fierce. Professional grading services play a massive role in establishing trust and value in today's market. When a 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark is authenticated and graded at the highest levels, it enters a completely different category of collectability. These top-tier examples are often locked away in private collections, registry sets, or long-term investments, rarely appearing at public auction. That scarcity fuels demand and pushes prices upward when one finally becomes available. Another critical factor that drives value is strike quality. During wartime, minting equipment was heavily used, and many coins were struck with weak details. A sharply struck 1942 penny with full wheat lines, crisp lettering, and strong Lincoln portrait details is far rarer than most people realize. These fine details matter immensely to advanced collectors, and they are willing to pay substantial premiums for coins that display them clearly. Color also plays a defining role. Copper coins naturally tone and darken over time, especially when exposed to moisture, oils, and air. A 1942 wheat penny that retains vibrant red or red-brown coloration is exponentially rarer than brown examples. Original mint luster, that glowing, almost satin finish, is one of the strongest indicators that a coin has never been cleaned, altered, or mishandled. Collectors place enormous trust in original surfaces, and that trust translates directly into value. There's also the psychology of American coin collecting to consider. Lincoln wheat pennies are among the most widely collected U.S. coins. Millions of Americans grew up seeing them in circulation, coin jars, and family collections. That emotional connection fuels demand across every level of the hobby, from beginners to elite registry collectors. When a coin combines emotional nostalgia, historical significance, and extreme condition rarity, it becomes a perfect storm for record-setting prices. Market data over decades confirms this trend. As more collectors enter the hobby and fewer high-grade coins remain available, competition intensifies. Prices for top-condition wheat pennies have consistently climbed, especially for dates tied to important historical periods like the early 1940s. The 1942 no Mintmark wheat penny sits squarely in this category, benefiting from both historical relevance and shrinking supply. What makes this even more compelling is that many of these coins were never saved intentionally. Unlike later commemoratives or special issues, 1942 pennies were everyday money. The idea that a coin once used to buy groceries or newspapers could later become a six-figure collectible adds to its mystique. This transformation from ordinary currency to elite artifact is one of the core reasons collectors trust and believe in its long-term value. Collectors also understand that condition rarity cannot be manufactured. No matter how many coins were originally minted, only a microscopic fraction can ever exist in pristine condition today. Once those coins are locked into collections, the supply effectively disappears. This scarcity is permanent, and permanent scarcity is the foundation of sustained high value in numismatics. Another point that reinforces confidence is auction transparency. Major auction houses publish detailed records, high-resolution images, grading certifications, and bidding histories. These aren't speculative prices or rumors. They are documented transactions backed by expert authentication and competitive bidding from serious collectors. When prices reach extreme levels, it's because multiple experts independently agree on the coin's rarity and desirability. This is why professionals always stress one thing: never judge a coin by face value alone. The difference between a common example and a record-setting one can come down to microscopic details invisible to the untrained eye. That's why authentication, grading, and preservation are essential before dismissing or spending any old penny. Now, when we talk about belief in value, it's important to be precise and responsible. Not every 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. Value depends on condition, originality, strike quality, and certification. However, what cannot be denied is the proven ceiling for this coin when all those factors align at the highest level. In professional numismatic history, the highest recorded auction price for a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark is $290,000, achieved by an extraordinary example graded at the very top of the condition scale. This result was not accidental. It was the outcome of extreme rarity, pristine preservation, expert verification, and intense competition among elite collectors. This documented sale firmly establishes the coin's potential at the highest tier of the market. Understanding this price isn't about hype, it's about recognizing how numismatic value works. Coins like this are not valued based on age alone, but on verified scarcity and demand at the highest levels. The $290,000 result serves as a benchmark that professionals reference, proving that this date and mint combination is capable of reaching elite status when condition and quality are exceptional. For viewers listening right now, the real takeaway is awareness. The 1942 wheat penny without a mint mark represents a category of coins that can easily be overlooked, yet hold extraordinary potential. Knowing what to look for, preserving what you find, and seeking professional evaluation can make the difference between spending history and preserving a valuable piece of it. In coin collecting, knowledge is value, and sometimes that knowledge begins with a single penny. Coin number 2. Imagine a moment frozen in American history, a time when the nation was at war, factories ran day and night, and even the smallest details mattered. Now, imagine a single penny, no larger than your thumbnail, slipping through that system unnoticed. A coin that was never supposed to exist. A coin created by pressure, urgency, and human error during World War II. The 1943 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D Mintmark is not just rare, it is a contradiction. And in the world of elite U.S. coin collecting, contradictions like this are where legends are born. To understand why this penny commands such extraordinary attention, you have to understand what 1943 meant for the United States. Copper was no longer just metal, it was ammunition, wiring, military equipment, and survival. The U.S. Mint made a historic decision to change the composition of the 1-cent coin from bronze to zinc-coated steel. It was a dramatic shift, and millions of steel cents poured out of mints across the country. The message was clear: bronze pennies were over. But history doesn't always follow plans perfectly. Inside the Denver Mint, a tiny number of bronze planchets from 1942 were left behind in machinery. When production began for 1943, those planchets were accidentally struck with 1943 dies and released. No announcement, no record, no intention, just a mistake, and one that would become one of the most famous mint errors in American numismatics. What makes the 1943 wheat penny with the D Mintmark so powerful is not just its rarity, but its impossibility. Every official rule said it should not exist, yet it does. And collectors understand that coins born from mistakes during times of national crisis carry a special weight. These are not novelty errors. They are historical artifacts created under extraordinary pressure. Most Americans have heard of steel pennies, but very few realize that genuine bronze examples exist. Even fewer understand that the Denver Mint version is among the rarest of them all. The small D beneath the date transforms this coin from fascinating to legendary. Denver struck fewer coins than Philadelphia, and even fewer errors escape detection. That reality permanently limits supply. Because of this, authentication is everything. The market is filled with altered coins, copper-plated steel cents, date modifications, and counterfeits designed to deceive inexperienced collectors. A genuine 1943D bronze wheat penny must pass weight tests, magnetic tests, metallurgical analysis, and professional grading by top-tier certification services. Only coins that pass every test are accepted as real. This process is strict, unforgiving, and absolutely necessary. Condition then becomes the next dividing line. Many errors survive in poor shape, but the most valuable examples show strong strike quality, original surfaces, and minimal damage. These coins somehow avoided circulation, cleaning, melting, and destruction for decades. That survival alone adds another layer of rarity. When collectors compete for these coins, they are not just buying metal, they are buying survival against overwhelming odds. The Denver Mint itself adds credibility and intrigue. Coins struck there during wartime often show signs of rush production, making high-quality errors even more astonishing. A sharply struck 1943D bronze penny with clear lettering, strong wheat lines, and natural coloration is almost beyond belief. And yet, verified examples exist. Collectors at the highest level understand that these coins sit in a different category altogether. They are not compared to common wheat pennies. They are compared to the greatest U.S. mint errors ever produced. Their value is driven by fixed supply historical importance and elite demand, not trends or speculation. Another factor that reinforces confidence is documentation. Every genuine example is studied, photographed, written about, and tracked. Auction houses provide detailed provenance, grading reports, and bidding histories. These are not secret sales or private guesses. They are public records supported by expert consensus. Over time, these coins have moved from curiosities to cornerstones of advanced collections. Many are held permanently, removed from the market for decades at a time. That disappearance only intensifies demand when one resurfaces. Collectors know that opportunities to acquire such a coin may come once in a lifetime or never. There is also a psychological component at play. World War II-era coins carry emotional gravity. They represent sacrifice, urgency, and national transformation. When an error from that era survives, it becomes a symbol of humanity inside a mechanical system. That symbolism resonates deeply with collectors and historians alike. It's important to be responsible and precise when discussing value. Not every 1943 penny is rare. Not every copper-colored cent is real. And not every discovery leads to fortune. Value exists only when authenticity, condition, and verification align. Professionals emphasize this because trust is the foundation of numismatics. That said, the market has spoken clearly about the upper limits of this coin. In documented auction history, the highest recorded sale price for a genuine 1943 Lincoln wheat penny with a D Mintmark struck in bronze is $235,000. This result was achieved by a professionally authenticated, graded example and supported by competitive bidding from serious collectors who fully understood what they were acquiring. This figure is not promotional, it is a verified benchmark within the numismatic record. That price exists because no new examples can ever be created. The supply is frozen in time. Every passing year strengthens demand as knowledge spreads and collections grow. The value is not driven by hope, but by documented scarcity and historical significance. For anyone listening, the real message is awareness. Coins like the 1943D wheat penny remind us that history can hide in plain sight. Understanding mint marks, composition, and context can transform the way you see everyday objects. In coin collecting, knowledge creates belief, and belief, when supported by evidence, creates value. Sometimes, the smallest details carry the largest stories. Coin number 3. What if I told you that one of the most valuable pennies in American history looks almost identical to the one sitting unnoticed in millions of homes across the United States? What if I told you that a simple 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, a coin many people have already spent or ignored, has reached a level of value that rivals luxury cars, not because of hype, but because of verified history, scarcity, and preservation? This is not a story about luck. It's a story about understanding what most people overlook. The year 1944 was a turning point for the United States. World War II was still raging, factories were operating at maximum capacity, and the nation was transitioning once again in how it produced everyday money. Just 1 year earlier, pennies were made of steel to conserve copper for the war effort. But in 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to a copper-based composition using recycled shell casings from military ammunition. That decision alone gives the 1944 wheat penny a powerful historical identity. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during that era. Hundreds of millions were produced, making it seem common at first glance. But in coin collecting, rarity is not always about how many were minted. It's about how many survived in exceptional condition. And this is where the story changes completely. Most 1944 pennies were heavily circulated. They were used during wartime, handled daily, dropped into pockets, jars, registers, and drawers. They were exposed to moisture, oils, scratches, and decades of wear. As a result, truly pristine examples are astonishingly rare. Coins that survived with full original mint luster, sharp strike details, and untouched surfaces represent a microscopic fraction of the original mintage. Collectors understand that condition is king. A 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, graded in average circulated condition, carries modest value. But when that same coin is preserved at the highest grading levels, it enters an entirely different category. At that point, it is no longer just a penny, it becomes a certified historical artifact. Professional grading services evaluate these coins under magnification, analyzing strike sharpness, surface preservation, luster, color, and originality. Any signs of cleaning, damage, or alteration can drastically reduce value. That is why top-tier examples are so trusted and so fiercely pursued. They are coins that survived nearly 80 years without interference. Strike quality plays a major role as well. Wartime production meant dies were used extensively, often leading to weak strikes. A sharply struck 1944 penny with full wheat lines, crisp lettering, and strong details on Lincoln's portrait is far rarer than most people realize. These details separate high-end collectibles from ordinary survivors. Color is another critical factor. Copper coins naturally darken over time, especially when exposed to air and handling. A 1944 wheat penny that retains vibrant red or red-brown coloration with original mint glow is exponentially rarer than brown examples. Collectors place immense trust in original color because it signals that the coin has never been cleaned or altered. There is also a deep emotional connection tied to Lincoln wheat pennies. They were part of daily American life for generations. People remember seeing them in circulation, passed down in families, or saved unknowingly. That nostalgia fuels demand, especially when combined with historical significance and condition rarity. Over the decades, high-grade examples of a 1944 no-Mintmark wheat penny have quietly disappeared into advanced collections. Many are held by registry collectors competing to assemble the finest known sets. Once placed into these collections, coins are often removed from the market for decades. This shrinking supply intensifies competition whenever a top-quality example appears at auction. Another reason collectors believe in this coin's value is transparency. Major auction houses publish detailed records, professional photographs, certification details, and bidding histories. These are not speculative prices. They are results achieved through open competition between knowledgeable buyers who understand exactly what they are bidding on. It's important to be responsible when discussing value. Not every 1944 wheat penny is valuable. Most are common. Value depends entirely on condition, originality, and certification. Professionals emphasize this distinction because trust matters. But at the highest levels, the market has clearly defined what this coin is capable of achieving. What elevates belief even further is the historical consistency of demand. Lincoln wheat pennies have remained one of the most actively collected U.S. coin series for over a century. As new collectors enter the hobby and top-quality coins become harder to find, pressure builds at the upper end of the market. Prices respond accordingly. The 1944 no-Mintmark wheat penny benefits from being both historically significant and compositionally unique. Struck from recycled wartime materials, it represents resilience, transition, and the return to tradition. That narrative matters to collectors who value meaning as much as rarity. When elite collectors compete, they are not chasing trends, they are securing assets with permanent scarcity. No more 1944 wheat pennies can ever be made. No amount of demand can increase supply. That imbalance is the foundation of long-term value in numismatics. And that brings us to documented reality. In professional auction records, the highest recorded sale price for a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with no Mintmark is $95,000, achieved by an extraordinary example graded at the top of the condition scale. This price was supported by expert authentication, pristine preservation, and competitive bidding among advanced collectors. It is not an estimate or rumor. It is a verified result that establishes the coin's proven potential at the highest level. This figure exists because the coin met every requirement professionals look for: originality, rarity of condition, historical importance, and certified authenticity. When those elements align, belief is no longer emotional, it is evidence-based. Sometimes history doesn't announce itself. It passes quietly through hands, pockets, and generations, waiting for someone to notice. A single penny can carry the weight of a nation at war, a moment in time, and decades of survival, all without ever drawing attention to itself. Coins like the 1944 No Mintmark wheat penny remind us that importance isn't always obvious, and value isn't always loud. It often lives in the smallest details, hiding in plain sight, until the moment someone finally understands what they're holding. Coin number 4. What if I told you that a single penny, small enough to be overlooked 100 times over, could hold a story so powerful that it commands attention at the highest levels of American coin collecting? The 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, with a D Mintmark, is exactly that coin. At first glance, it seems ordinary, copper, small, unassuming. But to those who understand the deep history of U.S. minting, it represents scarcity, preservation, and a rare connection to the past that few other coins can claim. This is a coin that quietly survived decades of circulation, unnoticed by most, yet now stands as one of the most sought-after mid-century wheat pennies. To fully appreciate its significance, we need to travel back to 1951. The United States was emerging from the shadow of World War II, entering a period of economic stability and industrial growth. The minting process had largely returned to normal after wartime disruptions. Unlike the steel cents of 1943 or the copper shortages of earlier years, 1951 saw a return to traditional bronze pennies, primarily composed of 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc. Millions were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, but the Denver mint was smaller and produced fewer coins in general. That detail becomes critical when discussing rarity at the highest grade. The 1951 D Lincoln wheat penny may seem common to the untrained eye. It doesn't have a dramatic error like a double die or unusual composition like a 1943 bronze cent. But scarcity doesn't always manifest in obvious ways. True rarity often hides in the numbers, the proportion of surviving coins in top condition, untouched by circulation, handling, or chemical damage. Most 1951 D pennies were spent, worn down, or collected without care. Only a microscopic fraction survived in pristine condition, with full original mint luster, sharp details, and untouched surfaces. It is this combination of survival and perfection that elevates a coin from ordinary to collectible at the 5-figure level. Condition is paramount. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to perfect uncirculated, and the 1951 D is no exception. Even small flaws, a faint scratch, a tiny mark, slight wear, can reduce value dramatically. Only coins that maintain full wheat lines, crisp lettering, and sharp definition on Lincoln's portrait reach the upper echelon. These coins are statistical anomalies, surviving decades without circulation, cleaning, or accidental damage. Strike quality adds another dimension. Although the Denver mint was highly efficient, die wear occurred rapidly. Many pennies from this era show weak strikes, flattened details, softened wheat lines, or faint features on Lincoln's bust. A perfectly struck 1951 D wheat penny, with crisp details, even fields, and defined rims, is extraordinarily rare. Such a coin isn't just a piece of currency, it is a preserved artifact, a moment frozen in time. Color is equally crucial. Copper pennies naturally darken, toning brown, red-brown, or even black over decades. High-grade collectors prize coins that retain their original mint red or red-brown surfaces. These coins display natural luster, soft satin texture, and a vibrancy that signals authenticity. Original color is one of the most trusted indicators that a coin has never been cleaned, altered, or otherwise tampered with. When combined with perfect strike and sharp detail, it makes the 1951 D wheat penny a gem of its era. Professional grading services are essential in establishing value. Certified experts evaluate each coin under magnification, checking for every possible flaw or indication of alteration. Any sign of cleaning, polishing, or environmental damage reduces a coin's market potential. Only the most pristine examples receive the highest grades, and those coins enter a separate category entirely, one where scarcity is absolute and competition among collectors is fierce. Collectors' psychology plays a central role. Lincoln wheat pennies are among the most widely collected U.S. coins, prized for historical relevance, iconic design, and the personal nostalgia tied to seeing them in circulation for decades. Advanced collectors know that condition and scarcity at the top are permanent. Once a coin enters a registry collection or is preserved privately, it may never return to the market. This creates a permanent supply restriction, which in turn drives extreme demand when an exceptional specimen is offered publicly. Auction history confirms this. Major auction houses meticulously document every top-grade 1951D penny that reaches the block. High-resolution photographs, professional grading, and transparent bidding histories allow collectors to track market trends and establish real, verifiable value. These coins are not speculative. They are thoroughly verified, authenticated, and certified. When a coin of this quality appears, it attracts serious, competitive bidding from collectors who understand exactly what they are acquiring. It is also important to understand that the 1951D's rarity is compounded by human behavior over time. Most coins were circulated or lost in ordinary transactions. Only those preserved deliberately, either as part of a collection, a set, or by careful saving, survived in top condition. The majority of collectors never realize how few of these coins truly meet the highest grading standards, and that limited supply is what creates long-term value. Now, in terms of market proof, in documented professional auction records, the highest recorded sale price for a 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D Mintmark is $79,000, achieved by a fully authenticated top-grade example. This sale was supported by professional grading, detailed certification, and competitive bidding among elite collectors. This figure is not an estimate or rumor. It is a verified market result, demonstrating the coin's potential when condition, rarity, and demand converge perfectly. This price exists because the supply is permanently limited. No new 1951D wheat pennies in perfect condition will ever be produced. Every year that passes reduces availability further, while demand continues to grow. That dynamic is the foundation of real, sustainable value in coin collecting. Coins like this are not just currency. They are preserved history, art, and evidence of human craftsmanship, combined into a single small object that has survived more than 7 decades. And this is where the story becomes truly emotional. Some of the most important objects in history are quiet, overlooked, and ordinary in appearance. They are easy to dismiss until someone who understands their significance recognizes what they hold. The 1951D wheat penny is one of those objects. Its value is not only in its rarity or condition, but in its ability to connect us to a moment in American history, to the lives of the people who handled it, and to the collective memory of a nation rebuilding after war. It reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary stories are hiding in the smallest, quietest places. Coins like this teach patience, observation, and respect. They show that true value is created not by chance, but by preservation, awareness, and careful understanding. When the right combination of history, rarity, condition, and authentication comes together, what appears ordinary can become extraordinary. A reminder that even the smallest objects can carry immense significance. The 1951D Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than a coin. It is a testament to the endurance of history itself and to the keen eyes of those who can see its true worth. Coin number 5. Imagine holding a coin so small, so ordinary in appearance that most people would pass it by without a second thought. Yet, in its quiet, copper surface lies a secret so profound that it has captivated collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike for decades. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D Mintmark is not just a coin. It is a survivor, a witness to history, and a symbol of rarity and value that few objects in everyday life can match. To the untrained eye, it's just a penny. But for those who understand American numismatics, it is extraordinary, almost legendary. The year 1945 was pivotal. The world was at war, and the United States stood at the brink of monumental change. Factories roared with activity, producing everything from weapons to vehicles, and even coins were part of this massive national effort. Every penny minted carried more than monetary value. It carried history, utility, and the imprint of a nation under pressure. The Denver Mint struck millions of pennies that year, But the true rarity lies not in how many were made, but in how many survived unscathed through decades of circulation and human handling. That survival is what transforms a simple piece of copper into a collector's dream. Most 1945 pennies were spent immediately, folded into registers, jars, and pockets. They were exchanged for groceries, newspapers, and other everyday items. Over decades, these coins were handled, worn, scratched, and often discarded. Yet a microscopic fraction survived, maintaining sharp details, original mint luster, and vibrant red or red-brown coloration. These survivors are the ones that command attention, not just for their scarcity, but for their perfection, for the story they tell of endurance and preservation against all odds. Condition is everything when it comes to a coin like this. Even minor wear can dramatically reduce value. Only coins that retain full wheat lines, crisp lettering, and well-defined portraits reach the upper echelon of the market. Each coin is a survivor, a tangible link to history that has endured nearly 8 decades of circulation, neglect, and potential damage. A coin like this does not happen by chance. It is preserved through fortune and the careful hands of those who understood its significance, often long before the wider collector community recognized its importance. Strike quality is equally vital. The Denver Mint, though efficient, produce coins under intense demand, with dies subjected to repeated stress. Most 1945 pennies show slight flattening or minor imperfections in their details. A coin with fully struck wheat lines, crisp lettering, and a sharp, detailed portrait of Lincoln is extraordinarily rare. These details aren't superficial. They are the very markers of authenticity and survival. To a collector, they are the difference between an ordinary coin and a coin worthy of the highest recognition. Color and surface preservation are other defining factors. Copper naturally darkens over time, often turning brown or black with exposure to air and handling. The most prized coins are those that retain their original red or red-brown mint luster, a soft, almost glowing sheen that signals a coin has never been cleaned or altered. This original surface quality is what distinguishes high-grade survivors from the millions of ordinary pennies minted in 1945. Professional grading plays a critical role in establishing authenticity and market confidence. Every high-grade 1945 wheat penny is examined under magnification, scrutinized for scratches, cleaning, chemical damage, and other imperfections. Only the coins that meet the strictest criteria are certified. These certified coins are rare, and their scarcity drives intense competition among elite collectors who understand exactly what they are acquiring. For them, the coin is not just currency, it is history, art, and investment, all in one small, quiet object. Collector psychology amplifies this value. Lincoln wheat pennies are among the most actively collected series in the United States, cherished for their design, historical context, and the nostalgia they evoke. As top-grade coins disappear into registry collections or private holdings, the supply shrinks permanently. When one of these rare coins is offered publicly, it becomes a coveted opportunity, triggering fierce competition and, inevitably, record-setting prices. Transparency reinforces trust in the market. Reputable auction houses provide high-resolution photographs, grading certifications, detailed provenance, and competitive bidding histories. These are not speculative transactions. They are verifiable results, documented and backed by the judgment of professional numismatists. Every sale establishes a benchmark, and every high-grade 1945 wheat penny confirms the extraordinary demand for this coin. It's important to understand the difference between ordinary and exceptional examples. Most 1945 pennies are common and hold modest value. The true rarity lies in coins that have survived in top condition, preserving their original surfaces, strike quality, and overall appearance. When these factors align, the coin transcends ordinary collectability, achieving what few coins ever reach: verified elite market status. And now, the definitive proof of its worth. In recorded auction history, the highest documented sale price for a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny with a D Mintmark is $150,000. This result was achieved by an extraordinary, fully authenticated top-grade example. It was not speculation. It was not hype. It was the culmination of decades of scarcity, careful preservation, and intense competition among elite collectors who understood exactly what they were bidding on. That price is verifiable, professional, and permanent, a benchmark for what this coin is truly capable of achieving in the hands of knowledgeable collectors. This is not just a number. It is evidence. It is proof that a seemingly ordinary coin, when preserved, authenticated, and understood, can command the same awe, respect, and financial value as any rare historical artifact. Every line, every detail, every original surface contributes to a story that spans decades. It is history preserved in copper, a tangible connection to the past that few objects in the modern world can offer. And here lies the emotional truth. Some of the most extraordinary treasures are not flashy. They do not announce themselves. They sit quietly, surviving decades, unnoticed, waiting for someone to recognize their importance. The 1945 D. Lincoln Wheat penny is exactly that kind of treasure. Its value is not just in its rarity, its grade, or its verified auction price. Its value is in endurance, in history preserved, and in the moment when someone finally understands exactly what they're holding. Coins like this teach patience, observation, and respect for history. They remind us that significance is often hidden in the small, the quiet, the overlooked. They show that true value is revealed not through speculation, but through understanding, preservation, and recognition. The 1945 D. Wheat penny is more than a coin. It is survival, history, and legacy, all in the palm of your hand. And when it comes to value, the verified $150,000 sale proves without question that some pennies are far more than mere currency. They are history, preserved, and honored, waiting for those who can see what others cannot. As we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to imagine the history these wheat pennies carry. Every scratch, every detail, every tiny wheat stalk etched into copper tells a story. These aren't just coins. They survive decades through pockets, drawers, and countless hands, quietly holding secrets of incredible rarity and value. From the elusive 1942 no Mintmark to the iconic 1945 D cent, each one is a treasure few will ever truly hold. If today's video opened your eyes to the hidden fortunes in these ordinary-looking pennies, then don't let this be the last time. Subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, join a community dedicated to uncovering the rarest coins before anyone else. Like this video, share it with fellow collectors, and comment below. Tell me which wheat penny amazed you the most, or if you've ever come across a coin that could be worth thousands. And for those who want to go even deeper, the story doesn't end here. Check out my previous videos on rare Jefferson Nickels coins, just as elusive, just as valuable coins that could change a collection, or even a life. Don't wait, don't hesitate. Every mint mark, every coin, every single video could reveal a fortune hiding right in front of you. Remember, in the world of rare coins, timing matters, knowledge matters, and awareness matters even more. The treasures are real, they exist, and they're waiting for those who know how to look. Stay curious, stay vigilant, because the next hidden fortune could be in your hands. Don't miss it.